Hello and welcome again to this short introduction to Paracelsus, the philosophers of the fire and alchemy. We received this information while we were invited to spend a special day of fiery energy in the house, the natal place of birth of Paracelsus in the region of Egg in Switzerland. And we were invited to discover or to bring back in a more fashionable way the principles and the core notions of alchemy. Alchemy is one of the most ancient science that was given initially by the mentors, the original mentors of humanity, to allow men to walk back the path of unity. Alchemy with astrology are the means by which the descending consciousness that is inhabiting the form may throw its way back to the source. And they were revealed, both astrology and alchemy, they were originally revealed to man so that he could regain the lost state of divinity. The earthly basis of alchemy is chemistry, and the ancient civilizations knew about the power of the elements that lies in the principles of the matter, and this information was revealed originally to the ancient civilizations through the knowledge coming from the star beings, those mentors from the stars and other solar systems that assisted humanity in the dawn of their days and gave humanity principles that would allow them to build their own societies. And the great masters of the alchemy were the civilizations from Sirius, those original star beings working with the principle of immanent fire, and also the masters of the alchemy of the matter were the beings that brought information and knowledge from the sister of stars, of the seven sisters, also known as the Pleiades today to us. So these original races shared their knowledge with the ancient civilizations, including the Lemurian, who were mentored mostly by beings from Pleiades, and later the Atlantic civilization with their great priests that were masters of alchemy, received this information from the hands of their own mentors coming from the system of Sirius. And when these civilizations finished their cycle, very ancient and knowledgeable priests and teachers kept this information throughout the decay of the civilization to pass it over to the next sitting human race. And this was done both in the Lemurian age through the ancient race of giants who passes information to the Atlantic, growing civilization, and again the Atlantic priests pass it over to civilizations mostly in the region of Middle East and along the African river of the Nile. And from there, the Egyptian priests, the Chaldean astrologers, the Phoenicians and the Babylonian, while they were trading their merchandises across the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and the deep body of Africa, sent also, or took with them, men of knowledge that expanded this information along the civilizations of the Mediterranean Sea, first the Greeks and then the Romans. And in Egypt, alchemy was known as chem, and it was the main body of knowledge of one of their ancient gods, called or known by the name of Thoth in Egypt, and that then was known as Hermes in the Greek world. And as Hermes, Trismegistus, he formed a body of knowledge based in the three aspects of the matter that allowed transformation into a higher state of being. So Hermes Trismegistus gave his name to the Hermetic arts, and he thought, we see Hermes as carrying an immortal emerald, and this emerald is the symbol of the sacred science of alchemy, representing the transformation of matter outside, but mostly the transformation of matter inside, in a higher state of vibration that can or is able to express directly the divine consciousness. As such, the process of alchemy within our own beings consists in the purification of our lower material bodies, including the physical body with the presence of the elements, the mental and emotional body, to achieve this degree of purity that allows the inner divine line to shine and to convert ourselves into a higher vibrational state that also magnetizes everything around us. In that sense, alchemy is the process of converting ourselves from a basic metal to a vibrant magnet. And coming back to our dear teacher and friend Paracelsus, he was the first one to describe this process of magnetization of the self. And later, Mesmer took it and described the current and was the founder of the current of mesmerism. But the first to bring back this concept in the Renaissance time to human mind was Paracelsus. So, from the stars across the ancient priests of Lemuria and Atlantic civilizations to Phoenicia, Chaldea, Egypt, through Hermes Trismegistus in Greece, we receive this threefold art. And this art is symbolized by the number 3 because it deals with the 3 elements in the 3 worlds of existence. And the ancient beings believed in the horizontal world, this dimension, in the underworld, the world of the elementals, of the intelligences of matter, and the supernatural realms where the angelic beings dwell. And as such, the alchemic art is based in the work of the three aspects in the three levels of existence. And the magic number that synthesizes this is the 9, the threefold work in the three spheres of existence. And 9 is the number that reflects the esoteric enlightenment or awakening of man. It's also the way by which the zero, the omnipresence, consciousness of totality and unity, expresses itself in 9 different lines to create the overall, all-permeating number 10. So alchemy is then the science to express in this mundane reality what is framed or shaped or conceived in higher levels of existence. And by the Hermetic knowledge, we learn that the principle that pervades all the universe is that of a seed. And the seed is the dormant, or contains the dormant principle of divinity that is latent, sleeping inside to wait the appropriate time and circumstances to awaken and to reveal itself. So the seed brings back to us the concept that everything that can express without is already present within. And it tells us that the Supreme One manifests himself through awakening and growth. And that within the concept of growth, there's this potential to take the dormant totality through expression into manifestation. So, the Hermetic science and alchemy tells us that there is no greater miracle than the act of growing, and that this growth is the possibility of the divinity that is dormant in everything, but remains one as universal principle, the spirit underlying every fact that is expressed in this universe. So growth is this principle that expresses the spiritual, dormant, latent divinity, the seed to express itself and give birth to different realities through the divine act of creativity in this material world. And for that, the spirit dormant in the seed needs a fertile territory to express. And this is the principle of earth. So the alchemy is the science that identifies divinity in the sleeping seed and that creates the territory, the land, the appropriate earth to nourish and awaken the seed so that it is able to express the potential of the all-pervading divinity. So through this process of awakening the spirit within the earth, alchemy also awakens the potentiality of the highest form of expression of the metals into their divine counterpart, and this is what they express by turning mercury into gold. But also the process that they really are engaged with is the transformation of the bestial or animal man into a supernatural or divine human being. So in this holographic universe, everything that is above is reflected below in this reality, and alchemy is the ladder that allows higher divine principles to manifest on earth, to bring up the vibration of this plane and to construct a celestial realm within this material world. And that is done through the transformation of the consciousness of the alchemical master. And this is what alchemy is teaching us. This is the legacy of the fire philosophers that transform themselves into the fiery element that could activate the transformation of themselves within and of everything that surrounded them. So alchemy can take part in everything that exists in the universe. It can take part in the minerals in way of transforming themselves into their divine aspect of gold as the supreme and universal expression of the spiritual vibration of metals, but also in animals and plants, and of course in man. As such, the alchemical masters are those that can, through their own transformation and their vibration and magnetism, activate through a very precise method of ritualistic treatment of elements, using their own magnetic and fiery power, so they can transform lower forms of existence into higher. And this is expressed in the metal world as transformation of mercury into gold, but also in the world of the plants, the transformation of the inherent principles dormant in the plants into curative principles that activate the process of healing for the human beings. So the teachings of the alchemist lie on the very first axiom that within everything is the seed of everything. Dormant within everything that exists in this reality lies the seed of divinity that can awaken, grow, and express itself to take whatever is existent to a higher level of consciousness and of manifestation. And as such, within man, as an holographic part of the universe, lies dormant the divine principle that can awaken him to allow the self-transformation from horizontal or animal man to a higher mode of expression as a superhuman, converted him or herself in the link between the spiritual and the physical realms. So these are the basic teachings that the great masters of alchemy allowed to survive throughout centuries up to these days. This is the legacy of Paracelsus and his colleagues through the Middle Ages and dark times of society into Renaissance and brought up to these days. And this is what we want to share with you, so that we start to understand again with a proper inner vision the teachings of these great men. And please, we do invite you to visit our main series in the Anima channel in Spanish, so that we can walk together through the life of Paracelsus and some more information about the process of transmutation of the first and basic three metals in the elemental world, including the salt as part of the earth, the mercury as a process of going from the lower centers to the higher centers, and finally the sulfur as embodiment of the principle of the power of the sun. So please do join us in this extended series, so that we can walk together into these adventures of the philosophers of the fire. Thank you very much.